This is the Hayden podcast with your host Hayden, and it's talking about Hayden time. Welcome to the Mochi podcast. The coolest cat just got a podcast with your hosts Zach, Hayden, and Tim.
Woo! Woo! I like that. Woo!
That's how we do it. Woo! Ric Flair.
Wow! Wow!
You sound like a Nickelodeon character and you scream like that, or you're from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
So, it's been a running theme on the podcast about me not picking up the couch for our house. And it is finally in the house. We went to Zach's house and we got his couch out of his kitchen, out of the shed, loaded it up, and it is officially now.
I'm glad that it's now out of my kitchen.
And
Are you though? I mean, I feel like you guys had a bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cue the photo of this f***ing couch in my kitchen. Look at it. Just look at it.
Oh man!
Just look at it.
For the audio listeners,
I want you to.
there is the couch is in the kitchen with no cushions, just blocking the
Everything. It is the entire
kitchen.
Yeah, no, his kitchen was the couch. His couch was the kitchen.
Go to mochipodcast.com. The couch is there. It's
Yeah,
The couch is also there.
the couch is there.
but
Just no, I don't want to just brush this off. Just imagine for 2 months of your life, every morning coming into the kitchen, saying, "Hey, I want in the middle of the night, I'm thirsty. I want something out of the fridge. I got to move that fucking couch to get the bottle of water. Nice. Now I've got the bottle of water. Now I want to go back to bed. Now I got to move that fucking couch again to go back to bed."
And now you're ripped as hell because you had to move that couch so many times every time you wanted
yeah,
to eat. It works out. You burn the calories.
I just see you walking into the kitchen and just it's like a muscle memory now, and you're just like, oh,
It almost is. Like I walk in and I'm like,
you trip over the non-existent couch.
something's not right here.
It's
Something's wrong.
It's
and
the
then it
ghost
clicks.
step.
It's like, now that it's gone, I'm like, dude, this house is huge. Like, I don't feel like I'm in like
Lynn's
a
room.
pool house. Yeah, it feels big. Take our studio and put that couch in here. That's what it would be.
The size of the room.
Yeah.
But not even. You came and got the couch, but I still had to help you move it here.
That's part of the deal.
I was at work. I'm sorry if I wasn't at work. Of course I would have helped you. I helped him move the old couch out, you know.
Which I'm surprised. How did that go? That couch is heavy as hell.
It is heavy, but
It was easy.
No, Tim was also like, yo, dude, we got this. Couch is light. And he's like, all right, I'm going to take the trash out real quick. And I start picking it up and I'm like, this couch is not light. This couch is heavy as
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know you take the cushions off. And
Yeah, you can
it's
take
like,
off the tops on that one. So you can take all the tops off.
Oh, yeah.
Not nearly as bad.
And then it fits perfectly through the door. I cleaned out the garage and then opened the garage and just dropped it in. And it was easy.
Nice.
Yeah. But so my topic is not the couch, by the way.
Okay.
That was just an update.
So that's what led to this. So we had to stop in. Thank you, Jimbo, for letting us borrow your truck. But my topic really goes into physical media. Okay, so as we're driving in Jimbo's truck, he doesn't have CD player. He doesn't really have anything. All he listens to is 105 The Eagle. Is that it?
1069.
1069 The Eagle, and it just plays classic rock. And I was thinking while we're in the car, because I'm a freak and I just think of random things like this, as like we're listening to like all these rock bands, and then Pour Some Sugar on Me is playing, and
Jimbo's like, pour some. He just knows all the words.
Sugar on me.
but with a little whistle in there.
He just he looks at Tim and he's just like, turn it up.
Just bass boost. I was thinking of like, these people are recording these songs in such a olden time, plugging into an interface, and then they recorded the audio, and if that audio wasn't good, you know, they just had to scrap it and do it again. There's no just like going back and cutting it and redoing it. People creating music like back in the day versus like nowadays. So that's pretty much the topic. Like looking back and thinking like, man,
it almost makes me feel like it's more authentic, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like they were maybe as one or two or maybe even like 10 tries to get the song right, whatever. And they might be tired, so that may be why some of the songs are like, some of the older rock songs sound like so like just genuine and raw and just like really good. I totally get that. It's like totally different. Music today is so easy to make, no matter like what your band is, whatever. You could be like, we talked about how you used to record songs on like his old camera, upload that to YouTube with just the audio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that's like leaps and bounds above what they would do back in the day.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good, obviously, but
Right.
like it's the process is just so quick.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like music. People make music so much. It's like a lot of it could be just considered like just throwaway, just to make music in general. Where a long time ago it was more of a process.
So like we're going to go up and record Gimmick, which is the little hardcore band I'm doing. We're going to have to record with Kevin the little 4-song EP, and when I went up there, I recorded all the songs, just rough guitar tracks. He gave them back to me, and so I can come here and practice, and we can all practice and key it out and have it all done. And if you think of like AC/DC, Rush, Black Sabbath, nah, they're just a bunch of random dudes, no internet, no cell phones.
Just rock and roll, baby.
They just literally was playing like a rock band, like a pub. Here's my demo tape. I think Iron Maiden, if I remember, they got signed off of they were just playing a regular gig and gave a tape to some guy in the back that was like a record producer, and
that's pretty cool. I saw a post about the Killers talking about the first time they ever played. Mr. Brightside was in an open mic night at a bar full like 10 people, and I was like, imagine like one of the biggest songs of like the 21st century, just being the first person to hear that ever. And like they didn't get like big until like another year after that.
I also think it's crazy nowadays with I guess rock bands are kind of in that way too. Like I remember watching on MTV, they had a story about Guns N' Roses. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the story of Guns N' Roses, but Guns N' Roses did that music video, Jungle. What's that?
Welcome to the Jungle?
Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle. They did that song and did a music video for it, and MTV only gave them a time slot at 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And they're like, they couldn't bring it up closer or anything, 1 a.m. And they had to hope that enough people were watching MTV at night and just pray that it just blew them up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it worked. I mean, Guns N' Roses, people loved it. And then, Welcome to the Jungle. And then
they play it at like every sporting event now.
Yeah. So, like that would be like a part of like media working in your favor, but still like the analog and the raw sound, like how people say MP3 sound like garbage and waves sound better, or you can even get like a AAIF, or you can really change like all these waveforms and people think they sound better. But
they do.
Yeah.
All the podcasts that we do record in AIFF, but it's an uncompressed file, but the file is so big that the process that we use to distribute to iTunes and stuff, the file's too big to send it out over the web, so it has to be compressed down to MP3.
Yeah, which is like a problem with iTunes. I think Spotify does the same thing too. It's I also like I have another good example. So like for example, have you ever listened to Dr. Dre's like The Chronic or 2001? Mm-hmm. And we all know how incredible those albums sound. Like Dr. Dre's production is incredible, and to this day he still does analog. He doesn't record digitally at all. Nothing's physical anymore, which is another thing. Like at Best Buy, we stopped selling CDs in July. So, like, you can't buy CDs anywhere anymore. And then also, at the weird time, vinyls are actually more popular than CDs. Like, it's so weird in how the world works.
I remember seeing, like, whenever I used to go to Best Buy to buy CDs in the first place, and Best Buy, besides, like, actual record shops at one point, had, like, the biggest selection of CDs. They had rows and rows and rows. And that's where I got my first, like, Lamb of God album. Yeah. And the one you work at, I got Lamb of God, I got, Killswitch Engage and As I Lay Dying albums all in the same day.
It's just wild nowadays. Just especially when you go to studios all the time and you see like how easy it is to just like, I mean, how many producers that can make 20 beats a day, and they all the beats can sound completely different.
You just need one to hit.
Yeah. Where back in the day you had to go to a record store, buy 20 vinyls to maybe
sample everything.
Yeah. and the drums, the bass, da.
That's why you would see older DJs with just like stacks and stacks and stacks of just LPs and stuff like that, where they would sample.
That's such a cool process too, though. Yeah. That would be to want to create something from samples. That's part of the fun is finding that one album.
Mm-hmm.
That the search, and you find you're like, yes, like that's it.
You had do you have anything else to go off of?
That's pretty much the gist of it. I think, and as me and you being record lovers, like me and Hayden, Zach owns records too, but me and Hayden have like
way more than I do.
A solid collection. Mm-hmm. Like I love records, but I don't buy records for listening to them. I buy them for the artwork because the CD's cool, but CD was more for listening, not for the artwork. It's more for the booklet as now if you want it.
Yeah. I get that.
But as we move away from like digital, we move away from physical media to digital, I'm really wondering what's next, especially with like how our world works. Like it seems like every like 3 years something just like gets rid of something and then something else comes in, and like it makes me worry about like YouTube and Google one day. Like what's after YouTube and Google? Like thing about that is like incredible. Like
until they collaborate into one being and they call themselves Google or something.
Well, they are the same.
YouTube.
Yeah, Google bought YouTube.
So. Oh yeah, that's true. Well,
yeah, so
whatever.
Technically, but I'm glad we're talking about me. Do you guys ever? For me, music is a go-to when I just need to like think about stuff. Nothing in particular, but like every night before I go to bed, I'll put my headphones in and listen to something. It doesn't matter what it is, and I don't really care what it is. It just, when music is playing, it helps spark something that just kicks off my daydream or just like stuff to just like think about.
Being creative.
See, yeah, and I was gonna like ask you because last night, speaking of like, especially music you had never seen before, last night we showed hardcore music for the first time.
Oh gosh.
I didn't know if you were gonna bring this up. So he showed him, and like Tim mentioned this. He was like, "I love showing people music they had no idea existed before then."
Yeah,
and it's awesome because we showed him Turnstile, and he was like, he saw it was a live video of Turnstile, and he saw like all the kids like stage diving and like everybody singing along, and he goes, "Is this real? is that crazy? What is this real?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, this is real. This is really." He's like, "That's I kind of freak with that, yeah." And then we showed him Vane, and Vane. I don't know if you ever listened to Vane. They're really like intense metalcore band. Yeah. And he was like, "Man, this is some real white folk shit."
But I could see that from somebody who just has no idea.
Yeah, he's like, "This is aggressive." But what started is on the way of driving him over here. I was listening to Trapped Under Ice, and I just didn't change it before he got in the car. And then TUI came on, and TUI, and then he was like, "Man, you listen to everything." And I was like, "Yeah." And then like he sees me, clapping, blah blah blah, hard parts.
And then we also showed him Tricot, and he was like, "Man, it's crazy when you think that like you find music that you had no idea that ever existed, and it like clicks with you." So I totally feel that. Like this past year, we talked about music that I listened to the most. None of the bands I really listened to the most were like hardcore bands. It was all a different branch of things. Like it was Young Lean, and then number 2 or 3 was The Cure.
Yeah.
So it was like super different, and I definitely, for like as long as I've been alive, really, because my dad was really into music, so he kind of went to music too for like inspiration or just to relax or just for anything. So I kind of did that too from like age 12 and up, really.
I feel like I appreciate music more now that I'm older. Man, when we were kids, and it's like we went to shows all the time and we listened to hardcore music and that was it. And all the other bands sucked. Like I was so close-minded to everything.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, it's like, man, some of my favorite artists are country musicians, and and then I come to find out like I love like pop music, and then I've even ventured into like not so much dubstep but like house music. And it's like to look at the music that I listen to now. If I was 16, look at me and be like, "What is like?" I was such an idiot when I was a kid.
I can relate to that too, because like I mean, me and Sam, like the first music you really got into was hip hop, and you never really saw yourself getting into like metal. Yeah. And I'm the opposite. I was really into metal, and I was like, yeah, I like a couple of like Jay-Z songs, and that's it. And then like I never really saw myself getting into hip hop as much as I do. So. And getting older, I never thought I'd see myself getting into like sadder, slower, chiller music either. So, but I love it.
I don't think I even told you this because of Jimbo. Like, shout out Jimbo again. But I didn't get into rap until I was 7. So when I was 7 years old, Tina was showing me pretty much. I saw Eminem show Ludacris. That's I'm like, shouldn't have heard that, but that's what I was listening to. But before that, I'm a big Skynyrd fan, which a lot of people don't know. But like, I love Skynyrd. Like, I'll listen to Leonard Skynyrd all the time. Like, behind it, low key.
Well, from the South, you're obligated to.
Yeah, because Skinner's just good.
That's just how it goes.
And I kind of like Zach Brown Band because it's not the same thing, but like they kind of like pull off the same vibe to me a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then I don't really like country, but there was that one. You remember when Mitchell went from being a scene kid to being a country boot wearing?
Yes.
Hollering,
yeah, dude,
country boy,
Auburn boy.
Yeah, he'd been a good boy, I guess.
Good old boy.
But like he completely like went into fishing and doing all that kind of stuff, and like it's just because the summer just one of the 2000s. We were just listening to it all the time, like driving, but for hanging out and stuff. And Springsteen just came out, Honeybee by like Blake Shelton, just like the most generic like radio country or stadium country, but that was just enough to like influence because he never kind of like listened to that stuff.
Yeah,
and which I would say even with like Riff Raff, like Riff Raff and Lil B started out like kind of as a joke. Respect to Lil B though, but like it kind of started out as like a joke, but we actually like got more into it and liked it more and more the more we listened to it.
Yeah.
Young Lean's the same way though. Like Young Lean, when he started out with the 2002 Sad Boy, like
I can chill with this for sure.
A lot of stuff that I listened to, I was almost embarrassed to tell people that I listened to it because it was just that time of like if you went to shows and you hung out with these people, it was like, and the way that you dressed was it was just assumed that if it wasn't screaming in your face, you didn't listen to it. To the point where over the years, I started listening to country music several years ago. And funny story, back when I was working for the AV company, me and my brother were doing this job out on this softball field. We were hanging these big, like, industrial speakers for the announcer to come on and do the play-by-play cast it out over the field. Well, we're in this man lift, this bucket lift, just big enough for 2 people to stand in. And we're like maybe 50 feet up in the air hanging these big speakers. Well, these guys were building bleachers for the new field, and they had a radio blaring country station. And man, if not every single country song that came on, I knew it. So I got to where I'm just singing out loud. And we're 50 feet up in the air, and my brother's in this bucket with me, and he looks at me and he's like, how do you know all these country songs? Like, please stop, you're torturing me. And just song after song after song. And then, after he said that, I'm like, damn, like, I do know a lot of
words.
I know a lot of country songs. Like, dang. And I was like, I just embraced it. I was like, yeah, I listen to country music. I like country music. Yeah. Big deal.
But you don't just like listen to it. It's more of like it came on to a point of where you knew the songs.
I do listen to it. I have a playlist. You'll appreciate
No, as it started though.
As it started, yes.
Yeah, yes. Now you do because you're into it. But before that, you didn't like. That was like the realization where
Anybody who follows me on Spotify, I have a playlist called Mud Holes and Bad Credit.
No, he has Zach's
Cowboy Hat Falls Down.
Yes.
He has Zach's infinite playlist of just things you didn't know you needed.
So I have a playlist on Spotify that's roller rink music from the like
about that,
2000s. Dude,
and I'll never forget.
I go back to that a lot.
I'll never forget being in the car and you'd be like, bro, what do you know about this? And like, you were like, bro, I had to check this out. And I was like, this is my shit, man.
Yeah, dude, it's good. It's
so
good.
Weird.
But back to this spawn because, like I said, I listen to music every night before I go to bed just so that I can think, whether it's about stuff going on that day, stuff that's going to be going on during the week. If we have guests coming on the podcast, I try to think about questions and stuff that I can ask to make a good episode. Think about different episodes that I need to edit. Think about stuff I need to do on just like music is like my go-to like thinking thing. To the point where my dad got us tickets to see Steve Vai down here in Birmingham. And Steve Vai is this
jazz guitar player?
I don't know anybody who wouldn't know who Steve Vai is.
He is a guitarist that is like he has a full band, but it goes by him, and he's just incredible. He makes really
he's like the best guitarist. Like everybody was like, anybody who wanted to be a guitarist looked up to that guy and was like, I want to be like Tosin Abasi is somebody I think about who was Steve Vai was like the man. So anyway, Steve Vai was playing a show here in Birmingham with the Alabama Symphony. And so he was playing solo, and then the symphony was backing him up. And it was beautiful because I think I went to a symphony a lot in elementary school for like field trips and stuff.
Yeah.
But since I'm older, I've never gone. And Lake's tried to convince me to go to some because he likes symphony music too. So my dad gets us tickets and we go. And while we're sitting there, the symphony starts to play. And it's just this beautiful, like elegant music. And then they're playing and warming up, getting ready for Steve Vai to come out. And I just get lost in my thoughts. And so I'm sitting there listening to this music to where I should be sitting there appreciating the music, but it's triggered this thing where I'm automatically, boom, in my mind, and I'm just like thinking about stuff. And before I know it, Steve Vai has already come out. Everybody stood up and clapped, and, oh yeah, Steve Vai's here. And he starts shredding, and I'm just sitting in my seat, just like, totally off in space because it's like triggered this thing. And then I came to and I'm like, oh shit. And then I stand up and start clapping and stuff.
Which is what music should do. It should trigger some kind of emotion. Well, I'd say emotion in you to be like, oh, and it feels like it's almost appreciating it in your own way.
Yeah. So, not to be like, oh no, they suck. No, it was like, it triggered this mood for me that was.
Especially like symphony music is like a really emotion driven style of music. Everything about it is like melodramatic in the way it should be.
Like opera. Opera is perfect like that.
Right. You mentioned like symphony, and like it was a little while, like a couple weeks ago. I think about this sometimes, Tim, because like you look on your face when you saw this, you just couldn't believe it. But
Hosanna?
No, it wasn't that. That too, though. You're just like, what the f*** is this band? And walked out. No. Speaking of like having like a symphony or like something like that, like something really really grand sounding thing. Watched a live Dimmu Borgir video of them playing this huge festival. They're a black metal band, and they have a full a cappella band and a symphony orchestra to play with them.
It's wild, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember, I was like, I knew about this. I know about a good deal about black metal. I was really into it for like a year, and how like ridiculous and extreme the genre could be. Looking over at Tim, and Tim was just like in awe. He's like,
yeah, imagine
it's insane.
Imagine
it's
a death metal band comes on the stage and there's 5 of them, and then a curtain opens up behind you, and it's the Alabama Symphony just right there, just multiple horns, brass,
just huge band,
and that guy.
Yeah. That's how it was at Steve Vai. Steve Vai would play, but he was going off the conductor? Not the conductor, but the
At the same time, though, Steve Vai, like, he just doesn't mess up. He just literally,
the symphony played, and he would just shred and just, like, because it's
sounds
Steve
awesome.
Vai.
Yeah, who wants to hear him not do that?
So the show's over, and my dad looks over, and he's like, so what'd you think? And I was like, dude, it was awesome. Like Steve Vai is great, and the fact that I got to see him in person is awesome, but for me, the symphony was the best part because it triggered that for me.
Yeah.
And so I get home and I tell Lake about it because the Alabama Symphony played at Samford University, one of the universities here in town, and they play along with the Harry Potter series. And so you go into the main theater and they put Harry Potter on the big projection screen,
dude.
And then the symphony sits below. And anytime there's a big orchestral, they play along with the entire movie. So I come to find out they do this with Home Alone during the holidays. And then there's even one that does it with the Star Wars series.
Yeah, I was going to say they better do Star Wars.
And so I told Lake, and Lake was like, man, he's like, I've been trying to get you to, like, because Lake had invited me to do the Samford one for Harry Potter. I'm like, I'm not really a Harry Potter fan. Like, I'm not really into it.
What about the video game orchestra downtown?
I'm not like the
video
biggest
game orchestra?
Mm-hmm. You can talk. I'll look it up.
I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. My sister's a humongous Harry Potter fan. So, like, all the time in our house when we were growing up, she would always just have the movies on just at random times. And, like, if not for seeing Harry Potter with that kind of music, I know you guys don't really care for Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like, if I could see, like, either The Two Towers or Return of the King or any of those movies, really, not the Hobbit movies. The Hobbit movies are The Lord of the Rings movies, though, I'm like, huge on. I love those movies. If I can see those movies with like it's live symphony orchestra.
Yeah. So we talked about it. If anything like that happens again, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Or hell, even if the Alabama Symphony, because they just play shows, and it's super intimate. It's an experience that I did not expect to have, thinking I was going to see Steve Vai. To sit down and have this, because you're sitting like 4 rows away from like 20 people on stage, all playing their individual instrument that just makes this beautiful sound. For me, it was very intimate and very. It was beautiful.
It's an experience,
right? And it, like I said, not to discredit or to say that I just zoned out, but like it triggered something in me that I did not expect at all. And then before I knew it, the show was over, and I'm like, man, that was so. Like I embraced it in like a completely different way than I thought I would have.
Yeah. That's good. So, Video Games Live is going to actually be the BJCC February 8th, but it's a full orchestra that plays all the famous video game music.
Okay.
Do they play Final Fantasy VII?
They probably will.
Because that soundtrack is incredible.
I wish I need that. Marshall actually went to one. He said it was incredible. He went there like I think 6 years ago, and he said it was incredible. It plays every year, but like you just get to hear all your famous orchestra related video game music.
I mean, that'd be really
play
cool.
with a full band, and which you think you know Steve Vai songs. Well, you definitely know video game songs,
right?
Because I mean they'll play Uncharted, and you know Uncharted is a full orchestra.
That would be sick. That would be so good.
Yeah, too bad you'll be gone.
Yeah, well, speaking of music and artists and people that I look up to and music that I do like, of all the people to show up in little old Birmingham, Alabama.
Before you leave.
Before I leave, Big Chocolate has announced a show.
I thought you were going to say me.
And little old... Are you playing a show?
No.
I'm like, what? No, Cam he's announced a show, one spot here in Birmingham, and it's like 15 minutes away from the house.
It's going to be sick.
Yeah.
Hayden can't go, though.
Unfortunately, I would love to go. I've never been to anything like that before, but like...
I mean, neither. I'm not...
No, it's just like, because...
I have, though.
And I was trying to think about... I tagged you in that Disfiguring the Goddess thing on like Twitter or something, whatever, and that was my first exposure to Cam and his stuff at first, whatever, and I think I binged like a lot of Cam's early videos, and then I saw him doing stuff on Warped Tour. That was when I checked his music out. So up till then, I was into extreme like metal music at that time too. I had never heard like any dubstep or anything at all. So like Big Chocolate was my first like kind of introduction to like that style of music.
Mm-hmm.
I would never go to those shows like unless it was like really him, because I like him a lot.
Yeah, of the music that I enjoy his music, but he did these daily videos back through like my high school years, vlog style, really before vlogs were vlogs, and I just appreciate that guy on so many more levels than just his like artistic, like his musical sense, just him being him. And so but I don't know how this show is gonna go, because like Tim saw him at like Warped Tour, but this is an actual. It's like a dubstep bar. Yeah, that's what they market it as. This is like a rave bar.
Yeah, you're gonna walk in and it's gonna start playing, and then you're gonna space out, and then you're gonna wake up and start clapping. And I'm like, hey, he's done playing. You just missed it all.
Yeah. But I'm super excited because he did these daily videos, and then he dropped off, and he kind of fell off the internet for like 2 or 3 years. He was still putting music out, but again, like I said, I wasn't really, I wasn't a fan because of his music. I was a fan because of him. So when he stopped making videos, it really sucked because that was like my daily content. And so kind of like, not saying like growing up with him, but like him being such a big part of like my high school years, and then I graduate and he's just kind of like disappeared. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, I feel.
Well, he started making his daily videos again and putting them out, and he did a big update as to why he stepped away. Much respect to him for that. But he started talking about how he kind of fell into reading, and how reading was it helped him cope with a lot of things and get through a lot of things. And me too. I counted it, I read like 12 books last year, which isn't a lot, but for someone who doesn't read, 12 books was...
I can't read.
For me, it was... Tim can't read. So
words.
He put this video out. He's like, I turned to literature, and he did this video where he talks about he gives his suggestions on books.
Yeah.
And so immediately I was like, man, I wonder if he's read one of my favorite books. I was like, I'm gonna ship it to him. Well, then like 2 days, I ordered the book, and then like 2 days later, come to find out he's coming to Birmingham, and so the book showed up, and so I'll actually get to give it to him in person.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I think that's pretty sick.
That is awesome.
Hopefully he's not like, thanks, dude.
Yeah, how there's shit in the woods.
I was also thinking, talking to one of my coworkers. I showed him the show, and he's listened to a couple episodes, and like I was talking to him about like saw him at Comic-Con last year. He cosplays. He talks about anime with me and stuff like that. And says he likes the show a lot. He listens on like the podcast app on iPhone, I want to say. But yeah,
we're on a lot of those.
Yeah.
We're on like 15 different.
Yeah. He was asking me like which apps we were on, and I was like, if there's a podcast app out there, we're probably on them.
We're on all of them.
Yeah. But he was like, along with like this question and like a couple others that we don't have to go over. He was like, what other like internet personalities have you followed like over the years? Like for you, it was Big Chocolate, like Ham. Is there anybody else?
Kind of growing up. Is that what he was asking, or people that we watch now?
Just like
I consume a lot.
Growing
YouTube
up and today.
I cut the cord, so I don't pay for cable. Internet's my go-to.
Right, same.
And YouTube is like YouTube's how I consume it. Media.
We're like the YouTube generation.
Well, like here in the past year or so, YouTube's implemented. You can actually go on the YouTube app and see how many hours of content you've consumed that week. Don't, because I look at it and I'm like, oh my god,
Hayden, yours is gonna be because you just let it run, so yours is gonna be
sometimes, yeah.
I'll show you after how you can go in and just to see, because it shows how many hours you've watched today, yesterday, and then the past week, and it's a lot. So yeah, YouTube being my go-to media, I'll watch a lot of internet personalities, but growing up, people that had an impact on, I mean, Cam every day for sure, but this is back when like Shay Carl was doing a bunch of videos and stuff, which I know how to, so I won't jump into that, but probably Mitchell Davis, because he was kind of in his prime back in the day.
For all of us Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Not for me. I didn't fall into Rooster Teeth until
after I almost fell out.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was probably 18 or so when I fell into Rooster Teeth.
I started watching like Rooster Teeth videos in high school, and I felt like I was the only kid there until one day I saw like a football player. He had a red versus blue shirt on, and I was like, "That's so freaking sick!" I had no idea anybody else in like the school even like knew about that kind of thing. But coming out of high school, I realized Rooster Teeth was like was a lot bigger than I thought it was, and it's only gotten bigger since then. But
yeah, this is in the prime of like MySpace days. Other than people at shows, I didn't have any close friends who just watch YouTube, and so one channel in particular I used to watch daily vlogs was Charles Trippy, and he did videos every day. And it wasn't until my brother moved out to California and I flew out there to see him, there was a girl wearing a CTFXC, a Charles Trippy hoodie. And it's the first time I ever saw someone else wearing something that, like, shit, I know what that is. Like, I watched that too. And I wanted to go up to her and say,
that's awesome.
I watched that too. But being this nervous little kid with no friends, thinking I'm the only one on the planet watching these videos, I didn't go say anything. But that's when it hit, like something in me was like, this is okay. Like, this is, you don't have to be like embarrassed or something. Like, oh, I watch these YouTube videos.
Yeah, like buying a big white V-neck that, has a coffee mug with like Kool-Aid in it, and no one ever bought something stupid like that.
Julian Smith, back in those days.
I was trying to think of like older YouTube, like Mitchell Davis for sure. And I was talking to you guys. I don't know if you guys. Dustin said he remembered Make Me Bad 35, and he was a guy who used to make like just funny like stupid videos back then. And I was going through like some of his videos, and some of his videos are so old that it was like to upload your profile picture on YouTube at one point, you had to upload like your thumbnail as a video, or like if you want your profile picture on YouTube, it had to be a video format, and you could use that as your profile picture. So he has like a 3-second video of just a picture of his face, and he used that as like a profile picture. That's how old some of his videos are. I watched him, Mitchell Davis, and those guys kind of like influenced my humor from like a little like when I was younger. Did you guys ever like Ray William Johnson?
No,
I never liked him either.
No. I remember those days.
So I didn't.
So bad.
Yes, because he
showed good videos.
No. I'm not even going that far. He did the what was it called? Equals 3?
Yeah.
But then he did a vlog. I just like vlogs. He did a vlogging called Breaking NYC.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I enjoyed this content. Yes, because that was like that was my in for him.
Yeah, that was better than his show. But which I guess now this is really weird because like we're gonna talk about a lot of YouTubers that I just like almost all the ones I'm gonna say have flack now, except for like one of them. But
I'm remembering some now. God damn it.
Me too.
So
we'll keep going.
So my I know what all mine are. So Shay Carl for sure, because Shay Carl.
I know all my favorite YouTubers by name.
I mean, Shay Carl for sure, just because he had one of the best vlog channels of all time. He was such a good personality.
I don't remember who that is.
He and then I did the Shay Loss.
Shay Carl, for anyone who doesn't know, Shay Carl was a daily vlogger, and his big thing was he did this thing called Shay Loss, and he documented him losing weight and the steps that he took every day, just a normal average Joe guy. And he was just real. It wasn't like a training video. It wasn't like, these are the steps you got to take. He's like, I'm just a guy who's overweight, and this is what I'm going to do to lose weight. And this is how I'm going to do it. And Tim followed,
and I vlogged.
Mad respect to
I vlogged all 30 days of it, too.
Oh, you actually did vlogs and stuff, too?
Yeah, hashtag lose a Olsen twin. You know, I don't know why I remember all this stuff, but like him and then Philip DeFranco. I was a big Philly D fan. I was a big Shane Dawson fan because Shane Dawson was, I don't know, man. It was like just part of sketch comedy. Ryan Higa, I still watch him all the time.
Yeah, he was. Their videos were always.
He was number one. He was number one.
Yeah. Thinking. Do you guys remember the I'm a Banana video from way back in the day?
Onision. I watched it too.
I liked Onision for a while. Then I watched his Speaks videos and I realized he's a narcissistic asshole.
He's crazy.
And a piece of shit. And I was like, no thanks. You ruined me ever watching any of your sketch comedy videos. And a guy that was actually like, what is it? Like a fake troll on YouTube? Copper Cab, the guy that was like,
oh, he was.
Wow. I watched all his videos and I was like, part of me was like, there's no way this is real. There's no way this is real. He's joking, but he did it.
We're going to watch this music video after this.
Dude,
what?
He has a music video, Grandma's Cookies.
They also faked that he like got his account hacked and like he was trying to get it back. He had to do all these stupid videos to get it back. And like, part of me was like, there's no way this is real. Yeah. But it's so stupid, I want to believe it's real. And he finally came out and he was like, yeah, it was all a joke.
Yeah, so. And then I think of like and then as like we got older and we had like all these things, there was like, I think one of my favorite things about YouTube is when people started collabing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like so there's two, you haven't heard these in forever, Zach. I don't know if you remember Black Box TV. Which Black Box TV is the original Black Mirror, pretty much. It was a guy who made these really scientific kind of like horror like weird little series on YouTube. I don't know if you remember them. Philly D was in the first one, and then there's The Station.
Yeah, with Kasim G.
Yeah,
and yeah. I remember The Station.
Like The Station was going to be like huge. Was going to be huge, but no one could make it work out.
Yeah.
But unlike YouTube, if you do like the Mochi podcast, you can give us 5 stars. So.
Rate them 5 stars
and hit that bell.
Yeah, dude.
That wasn't there back in the day, but now it is. So you get all the notifications. So hit the fucking bell.
So we're coming towards the halfway point of the Mochi podcast, and I would love to tell y'all about this lovely ad space that we have.
Oh yeah, we're actually gonna do a live read this week.
Who's our sponsor, Zach?
It's a sponsor that keeps coming back week to week, who's continued to support this podcast.
Let me guess. Is it Pocket Cast?
It is Pocket Cast, Tim. Let me tell you about Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is the best way to listen to your favorite shows.
Like the Mochi Podcast.
Exactly. With over 500,000 podcasts to choose from, they make it easy to find shows tailored specifically to your interest with their advanced episode search. Now you can find specific Mochi episodes just by searching keywords and topics within that episode.
Like
Flat Earth
Mochi
and aliens.
And Cat Podcast.
Rated the best podcasting app for Apple users by Wired Magazine. Pocket Cast is easily one of my favorites. It's the one that I personally use to listen to all the podcasts. So try it today. Make the switch. Download it today from the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, or on the web at pocketcast.com. That's Pocket, CASTS.com.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pocket Cast, for sponsoring this episode of the Mochi Mochi Podcast. I don't know if you watched. There's a guy, Dan Brown.
Danny Brown.
He went by Pogo.
I'm Danny Brown.
He went by Pogo.
That's just pass it by. Yeah, what?
Pogo?
He went by Pogo Bat on YouTube.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say
He used to
Pogo
do
the
like
Clown.
these kind of vlog style stuff, and then he really kicked off this thing. It was going to be called Dan 3.0, which was like groundbreaking back in the day. He was going to take the YouTube community, and for the next year of his life, the YouTube community was going to dictate where he went, the stuff that he did, and pretty much how his life was going to be played out. And so he gave up his lease on his apartment and he left his job. And so every week he would upload a video and he'd say, okay, guys, this week I'm in San Francisco and I can either A, work an internship at a coffee shop, B, I can go help at this homeless shelter to feed homeless people. And he would just give options. And then people would vote that week. And then the next week's video would be him doing that. And then after that, he'd be like, okay, now I want to go from San Francisco to Arizona. Do I A, buy a plane ticket and fly there? Do I B, rent a car and drive across the country? And then people would vote, and then he would do that. And he did it. And I voted on a lot of the stuff that he did week to week. And it lasted for about a month and a half or 2 months, and then just completely fell apart. Because he was like,
I'm broke.
He was like, man, he was like, leaving your life up to chance for just people on the internet seems like, oh yeah. And then if you don't want to do something, you just don't do it. He's like, but when he put such a spotlight on it to where everybody was like, everybody had something to say. After about like 2 months, it just maybe longer than that, maybe like 5 months, it just fell apart.
Do you feel like it's I would say kind of like a presidential debate? You know, no presidential debates 100% one side, zero the other. Was it like that where people get mad that they didn't win or something?
Yes and no, because I want to say at the time too, he was in a relationship, and that had a lot to do with it too. Whoever he was dating was like, look,
A, break up with her.
B, yeah, and so that happened like in the early 2000s, and I kind of fell off of it because he kind of disappeared after that. Then he came back. He got a job at like Fuse, working for Fuse Network on TV, and then so yeah. Anyway, that's just a channel I used to watch that I don't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Julian Smith was like the same thing. Like Julian Smith, I thought Julian Smith was going to be like one of the biggest YouTubers to like really ever exist.
He had stuff going viral that
shouldn't have, I guess, really.
Right, yeah. He was on it.
He had the quality.
Remember Fred?
Yeah.
You couldn't get away from Fred's videos back in the day. First front page every single day.
The crazy thing is Logan's still making all that money like from those videos.
I believe it. And do you guys remember Annoying Orange? Front page of YouTube every single day. Never thought those videos were funny. It was little kids on YouTube thought those videos were funny.
Yeah, now it's weird now, even in the format of like how
they had movies. Dude.
Video, yeah. There's Fred movies on Nickelodeon.
But those were back in the days that if you got it was like over 300 or 500 views on YouTube, they'd put you on the front page.
Yeah,
because Tim and I used to spam. We talked about this at
F5.
Yeah, at some of the earlier Mochi episodes, Tim and I talk about our kind of YouTube career experience because we both had YouTube channels.
We had 12 YouTube
I had a YouTube channel that ended up getting deleted because it was inactive for like 3 years, and then YouTube deleted it. But that channel had all of my viral videos. Viral in the sense that those videos were getting like over 200,000 views. Those were videos that were getting put on the front page. This is back before you could ever make money on YouTube. We were just making like dumb videos
just for fun.
Yeah, we didn't even get money.
But I think Tim still has his YouTube channel that he had back in the day that used to have all the viral hits, right? Because you had some videos with
we're not going to mention the name of it because I don't want people
That's fine, but how many views did it have? Like
260,000 views. Let me go check.
That was viral back in the day. Like there weren't a million people even going to YouTube daily to get a million
and
views.
when videos videos started hitting like the millions, people were like, whoa, it was a big deal.
It was a huge deal, yes.
It's like 1 million people watched this. And it was just like, because I think the first 1 million view video I saw was Dramatic Hamster. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was like so funny, but it's just like a really shitty edit.
Or the Evolution of Dance. That video. Yeah.
Evolution of Dance, and also the guy with all the t-shirts on. And then there was also, Weezer made a whole music video about like the YouTube videos. They got like the first 1 million hits, whatever. And then there was and then I remember, speak like a little ways away when like Gangnam Style came out, and that was like one of the first videos that hit like 1 billion views, and people that was a huge deal.
Because back in the day, there weren't so many people. Like if you hit 1 million views, everyone knew about it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's so many YouTubers with 5 million plus subscribers that I've never even heard of. Yeah, that I see their videos. I'm like, who are you, and how do you have this big of a following?
And like officially licensed like record labels have like music videos come out there like super high quality, just get like that'll get like 10 million views in a day, and it's just like it's not the same. It's not the same community it once was. Where like
they deleted it, by the way.
The video. I'm not surprised with how YouTube is these days at all.
They didn't delete one of the other ones, but they deleted it.
If it doesn't get a view in like a year or something.
Yeah.
Well, these are 11 years old.
Yeah.
Well, that's also crazy because the Make Me Bad 35 videos, some of his videos were like 12 and 13 years old, and I was like, getting old, man. But YouTube personalities I followed today, I've talked about LA Beast. He doesn't put out videos as much as he should, or I would like to. He does live streams every now and again. Been following him since the beginning, and basically I have like Anthony Fantano, just because I like to hear what he has to say about music, and he has like him interacting with like people on the internet is also that's a big part of his channel now. That's always interesting. And then Digibro, which he does like Let's Plays as well as like anime analytic videos. It's always interesting to see what like his videos are pretty like non-biased about how he kind of states the facts on certain anime about why it's bad or why it's good. Mm-hmm. So it's like always good to see something like that in a new light. But that's like the big three I still like watch on the regular. And like Oni Plays and Game Grumps, I watch their videos all the time just because it's like they nail it on the head for like my taste in comedy.
Do you remember?
Game Grumps is 100% the most consistent out of any channel I've ever watched.
I remember showing you them, being like, "Hey, dude, have you heard this channel called Game Grumps?
You should watch the Goof Troop series.
It's still my favorite series. Do you remember back again in like the early 2000s of YouTube, Rhett and Link? Mm-hmm. They've blown up now, but this is way before they blew up. They would upload stuff on YouTube, but they would put all their stuff out first on their website. Mm-hmm. And so you'd have to go to Rhett and Link's website, and you'd have to download the video to watch it. You couldn't watch it direct on their site. And so I remember seeing Rhett and Link's videos on YouTube, like a couple of days after I'd already watched it, being like, like that feel good of like, I've seen this video already because I downloaded it. I hadn't. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Rooster Teeth was like that too. When their early videos, they were like, if you want to see the video like a day early, go to roosterteeth.com and check it out. We got it over there. So they were trying to like promote their website.
Still do that.
Yeah. They still do that. Patreon now too for most people.
Yeah.
Well, Digibro has a Patreon for like early videos, and some people with like certain podcasts to go. I've been thinking about subscribing to certain Patreons, but I'm like, I've never done it before. And I don't know if it's worth it. You know.
It just depends on who it is. Like
me and Zach did the $5 for Rooster Teeth.
Was it
Yeah,
worth it?
I was a sponsor, Rooster Teeth sponsor, until they racked up the prices on it. But if you were a sponsor through the Rooster Teeth website, you got to watch the podcast live, and you could actually watch it live, and then it wouldn't hit like YouTube till like 4 days later.
Yeah.
And so that was a cool part of it.
But that was it. That's all I would ever do. I still didn't even watch like that Day series they had.
DayZ. Yeah, it was pretty good. But it gave you special perks too if you went to RTX every year. So that was nice. They took a company that has stood the test of time when it comes to YouTube and actually making a name for themselves and stuck around. Rooster Teeth is really, they planted their flag. Like
kind of paved the way for like a lot of YouTubers in the video game, and like
they created an anime too that's like cosplayed and in every Best Buy.
Ruby is huge, like even in like the anime community where it's like American made, it's still big.
Ruby's good, man.
I watched like
Ruby's
the first
good.
two.
It might not look good.
It might not look good, but the story is there. And you know me, I'm so quick to turn crap off. And Ruby, the first, I didn't know that I could watch Ruby on their website in high quality because they uploaded it to YouTube in 480p. And so I watched, for someone who turns crap off, I watched like the first two seasons on YouTube in 480 because that story is very, very, through the first 3 seasons. After like season 3, it kind of falls off, but the first 3 seasons,
it starts looking better, but it sucks.
And
it kind of falls off.
I like how you're like, for a guy who turns shit off, it's so true because you're really hot and cold about most things where I'm like, is that how you think about this? You're like, no. Zach, do you think about this? Yeah, it's cool.
I'm getting better.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But there also is, too, because just like when I was a kid, so easy to write stuff off like country music or dubstep or whatever, that I missed out on all this stuff that I appreciate so much now. And so I try not to do that, but it's still like in me. Like if I'm not invested in like the first 15 minutes, I'm like, just turn it off, please.
I was really glad that you just watched Kids on the Slope
Everything
like this week.
Which that's a whole nother discussion we can get into because that is a great show.
How long do you guys want to go for?
That is a great show.
I just don't want to spoil it for him though.
I gotta finish Tamako Market and I'm almost done with that, but I also gotta watch the movie.
We'll get into that to a different episode because we'll talk about
the AWA thing.
Yeah, we can make that its own episode. I like talking about YouTube.
We have a future, dude. Talking about YouTube, we could go on forever. We got another future anime episode. Just fair warning to people who don't give a shit.
So people,
except for Linda.
So YouTubers you're subscribed to like today that you go to today.
So Game Grumps, Peter Mckinnon, which is a camera guy, Matt DeVelli, which is another YouTuber. For like he does like podcasts and he does like minimalist.
Yes, you talked about him before. I do Oni Plays.
Anthony
Fantano kind of, but you're not like, you don't watch any of his like let's argue, let's agree videos.
Yeah, I don't.
Those videos are really good.
It's actually more selective nowadays for me because I have like the normal stuff, but like what I do is I edit music videos, but I put this stuff in the background. Like someone the other day is like, dude, man, you're knocking these videos out. And I was like, it's because I have stuff to watch while I do it. There's no way I'm going to sit here and listen to a song a million times. I'll just put the song really low and start cutting. But like, I watch people's music videos like I always do. I watch Let's Plays. But the thing is, though, I'm so caught up on stuff, like I can't really... I think the best show that I've watched is, I think Game Grumps doing Power Hour has probably been the best thing to come out in a long time.
They make it entertaining. They edit it really well.
That has brought me back into Game Grumps.
Yeah.
Because I was, as bad as it sounds, I was a JonTron fan. And so it really it left a bad taste in my mouth when JonTron left and Danny came in. And I really resented, Danny, not for anything that he did, but just I was so used to the dynamic that John and Aaron had for Game Grumps. And I didn't get that with Danny. And so it would suck because I introduced Tim and then he latched on And then Danny came in, and I'm like, oh, I'm just out.
But Danny's better than John. 100%.
It is like, and I go back. I don't watch the stuff that they upload daily, but I watch a lot of compilations that people make of like the best of 3-hour long videos of just the best parts.
Yeah, and I can agree to that. When talking about how when John Tron left, it was when because on Oni Plays it's just Chris, and then they had a Ding Dong and Julian. And Chris playing and then like having commentary over it. For a while, Ding Dong and Julian, the other guys on the channel, they actually work on video games themselves. They make video games, and for a while they'll go away and do their own thing with what they're doing. And he had like some of his other friends come on. He's actually had JonTron on a couple of videos.
He came up 4 weeks ago. He had JonTron on Only Plays.
They played like Newgrounds games. Is really funny. They I'm not gonna get into that. He had like his friend Zach. Psychic Pebbles and some of the guys that edit his videos come on the show with him, and to me they're not like the chemistry that like Chris and Ding Dong have on the show with Julian. Like Chris and Ding Dong are like super funny and they like riff off each other super well, and Ding Dong's just kind of like goofy. With other guys, Zach and like I think another guy named Lyle, they come on. They're not the same people, of course, so they don't feel like as like funny, but like and I showed you the video that had Zach on there, and Zach's the guy with like the really like nasally voice that you were like, no, turn it off. I hated him to begin with. Once you like get used to him, he's really damn funny. So I totally feel that, and I was turned off to Only Plays for a while, and I was like, I guess Ding Dong and Julian are never coming back, but they came back to do some Let's Plays with him, and they've been really funny.
Yeah, my favorite thing with like Dan joining is Dan just is better in multiple aspects. Like John's better in video editing, but Dan's a musician and can sing, and he just has this way different aspect.
That was probably just I favored John over Aaron to begin with in those videos, and so when he was gone, I felt like there was really nothing for me there. Yeah. But John he's made a career for himself, and as for YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to today, and look forward to the scarcity of videos that come out. But when they do come out, they're quality.
They're pretty good,
really except good. For the last one.
You didn't like the last one?
The Flex Tape 2?
You remember? I know you do. Freddie W. All those videos back in the day.
And then Corridor
Digital, which is who I'm still subscribed to today.
They're bad.
They do again. I guess I'm more of like a daily vlog. I like daily vlogs because they do like a daily studio updates like every day. So I'm subscribed to them every day.
We bought something new today.
Somebody who really stood the test of time, Jenna Marbles. I don't know if you ever watched her videos.
Yeah.
Her back in the day, but dude,
you didn't like her?
She puts out a video every week. I've subscribed to her.
I like Hermit.
I have fallen into her and her boyfriend Julian. Jenna and Julian, I subscribe to his channel. Those are two people that, like, they're probably my favorite YouTubers on the platform this past going into 2 years now. Like, those are people that, like, of everything that's come and gone, I feel like the content that they put out week to week is just right up my alley. I love it. And they've kind of they're transitioning out of YouTube to do Twitch, which really opened up Twitch for me. And as much content as I consume on YouTube these days, half of that content is consumed on Twitch and Twitch streamers. They have really opened up this whole new platform for me of content that I consume.
It's awesome though. Like, but I feel like that's something that me and you have always been like, where we would watch we watch YouTubers and then we immediately would try to not imitate, but like we would gravitate towards trying to become like in the same light of like, how could we get to that point? Because me and Zach wanted to be YouTube famous. That's what we wanted to do as a kid. That's all we did. We recorded stupid videos.
And we were, and then we just
wanted to be Smosh.
We didn't.
Shout out.
This was back in the day of Smosh. Like I said, the videos that we were putting out were viral at the time. But for me, I just let that channel go, and like I didn't sign into it for like a year or so. I was always like, well, this channel's not good enough, let's make another one. And then it would get super popular. But really, I should have paid attention to this one, because after not signing in for like 2 years, YouTube declared it inactive, and then they deleted all my popular videos.
Yeah.
And so we've always made YouTube videos, and we've, like you said, we've had like 12 different YouTube channels. Tim and I are all over the platform. If you just search hard enough, you can find us. But none of the videos that we tried to pursue now that we're older ever hit it like they did back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I look at it in the sense of back in the day of like Mitchell Davis days, had I pursued videos that were getting like, that were viral at the time, yeah, no, I could totally see myself having a video popped off and having like a career or whatever, because we would have had it had we stuck with it.
And hey, I didn't even hear. I don't think Hayden mentioned even LA Beast, but like that's like
yeah, I did.
Talked about it, man.
But like LA Beast, I mean, that's for example. Like LA Beast doesn't make that much money. He can't make that much money on YouTube anymore. They screw him over all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's why he does the live streams. And when he specifies this, he's like, when I'm in my videos, I am the LA Beast. When I'm on these live streams, I'm just Kevin Straley talking to people about anything, and I'll talk about personal experiences. He's done a lot of cool stuff. That has not food, eating competitive related. He's done a lot of cool things, and he's like loves to talk to people. So he does get money from those streams. And like people have tried to tell him to go to Twitch, and like, but he wouldn't really do anything on Twitch. Like he wouldn't be like a video game streamer, but like he just likes to talk to people. So he gets money from that.
There's a whole category for that called just chatting.
Chatting
for like kind of funny. They're their own entity, but they do a morning show every day. And they get Twitch subscription. Their whole Twitch channel, because once you're a Twitch partner, you have to stream a certain amount of hours every week. Yeah. And they hit that just by doing a morning show. Like they've created their own category on the platform. And so yeah, if he were to pursue it, I
was remember when Colin was on there, and Colin, I think if I remember right, they said they make about $30,000 to $35,000 a week. Like, they're just, like, streaming donations and, like...
Well, I'll say this. Kind of Funny just did their annual thing where every year they do a 24-hour stream and try and get an X amount of money for, like, the next 6 months to help. Because they're located in San Francisco and everything's more expensive. Mm-hmm. And within, like, 12 hours... And not even that. Within, like, 6 hours of their stream, they had hit $50,000 for, like, the next 6 months or something. And their goal was, like, $100,000. And so,
that's kind of like when
they make a lot of money.
That reminds me, and one of the reasons that like Chris Oni doesn't really go to Twitch that much, or like LA Beast doesn't go to Twitch, their audience is on YouTube,
right?
But they did do a stream, like Chris and Ding Dong did a stream on Twitch, or whatever, to raise money for their friend who needed stem cells for like her surgery or something like that. And they did like within like 5 minutes of the stream, they were like. They'd gotten like hundreds and like they were getting like into thousands, and they were like, okay, the money counter thing is broken. We're definitely not getting that much money. But in like 15 minutes, their goal was like maybe like 12,000, and they hit like 25,000 in like a 7-hour stream.
So, I used to think that
it's crazy.
I used to think that Games Done Quick was huge because they did a week-long stream, and then after a week, they'd hit like $1 million to donate to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. And to me, that was awesome watching those streams every week. But then a company like Rooster Teeth does like a 6-hour stream and they hit like $2 million. And it's like, whoa, like especially this year watching Awesome Games Done Quick. I mean, I think they just broke like 1.2 million or something.
And the thing is, the content doesn't even have to be good.
Especially for Rooster Teeth.
They will do that just like
because Rooster
just hanging out on the couch.
They have that core audience, and they built me being someone who's kind of grown up with RT since like 17 or 18. Like they get it when it comes to a fan base, and having their own subscription model. Like you don't just sign up and pay $10 a month for Rooster Teeth content if they weren't giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have paid $10 a month for this content when I could be paying for Netflix. Like
that's true.
And it's not 7 guys anymore.
It's a lot.
They have over 420 employees now. That's insane.
Nice.
Insane.
420.
Yeah. So that's crazy. YouTube played such a huge role in mine and Tim's friendship. You remember the YouTube movie? Mm-hmm. This guy, what was his name?
When we went to the theater and watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those YouTubers being Wheezy Waiter. Waiter.
Oh, I did watch him too. Yeah, he was pretty good too.
He's kind of jumped back on the map. He never quit making videos, but he's just now putting out stuff that's gained more traction. And I just recently resubscribed to his channel.
Yeah.
He's putting out some good stuff.
When like Vsauce and stuff like that was like really big.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones who I've subscribed to. I might have to go back on my old YouTube channel because I have a new one, of course.
I have a lot, but
when we were talking about like Ray William Johnson, I didn't like him. I liked Toby Turner with the cute when fell.
You really did like everyone who took a turn for the worst.
Yeah.
Didn't
you?
Yeah. They just all became pieces of shit.
Did you guys ever watch Kev Jumba?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really funny. Like I said, like when you wanted like wholesome, really quality content videos, it was just like an average kid being like silly with his dad. Like 10 out of 10.
Yeah. We talked about Freddy for like a split second, but I was going to say with Freddy Wong, he was the first time where I saw YouTube progress into where it could be like movie-esque. Like people now have the ability to like go to YouTube and like watch a person change like how everything looks and then do special effects. Like that was the first time. And then he made Garden Warfare or whatever that is, and it or Flower Warfare, and I was like, okay, this.
That's about the time that they spawned into Rocket Jump. Funny story, it was Freddy Wong and Brandon Latch, and they ran the Freddy W channel. And about the time that Video Game High School, this series that they put out, that and eventually ended up, they did 3 seasons, and it got bought out by Lionsgate and was supposed to be turned into this huge thing, but I think they dropped it. The Freddy W YouTube channel then became a full-on production called Rocket Jump. And they had a podcast that I used to listen to a lot. They put out a lot of content. They still put out a bunch of videos that go viral that I don't understand why it goes viral because they're not that good. But after they split, I followed Brandon because Brandon then he spun off he started making video games, and he makes a lot of the VR games. And he did this one game called Duck Hunt that I may have talked about before, but it's a VR experience. It's like if you took the old NES game Duck Hunt with the gun and then put that in virtual reality, and you're actually in there with a shotgun shooting stuff. Like he did that. He really pioneered that aspect of VR. And he's actually got a new game coming out either this year or next year that's going to completely flip the script on VR. To the point to where, you know how a bunch of games run on like the Unreal Engine? Mm-hmm. He has built his own engine that now other games, like this is the future. Other games will be built off of his engine.
Look out, Bethesda.
He's been working hand in hand with Valve over at Steam.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Those are the folks you want to work with for like that kind of shit.
So I fell off of Rocket Jump, like you said. Freddy W kind of went.
Yeah, he ultimately might not make as much money that he was making like through YouTube, but I would say that's more of a passion project
That's progression in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be way progression. Because how many times can you make the same gun video where you do...
Right.
Yeah, you hire the same team to come do stunts.
Corridor does it.
But they're bad.
You know this video. This is the guy, Zach from Oni Plays, whatever, the guy with the voice you don't like, whatever. He made, remember this video from like, for Skyrim for Arrow to the Knee? It's like 19 million views.
Yeah, I remember that.
Psychic Pebbles was the one who made this video. That's how he's friends with Chris. They made like...
That makes me think back of the days of like...
Because him and Oni are animators, that's why they're friends.
Not Homestar Runner, but Joe Cartoon. Homestar Runner, Joe Cartoon, Jib Jab. Do you remember any of those websites?
No. Do you remember... Oh, websites? That does ring a bell. Did you guys...
This is back like before Newgrounds, or back when like Newgrounds became a thing.
Or it was like Newgrounds. Newgrounds was around for a while, yeah. What was the thing that hosted like Dr. Tran and like those videos? It was like Mondo Media.
Yeah, Mondo.
Dr. Tran videos were really, really funny for a long time, and then they got stretched out, and they were just like, okay.
Happy Tree Friends.
Never cared for Happy Tree Friends. Guess I'm an outcast.
There's so much content.
It really was. We consumed
It was a
lot
golden age, man. Like, it's just not the same anymore. It wasn't the community anymore.
Well, now everyone does like reviews or reactions of reactions, which I didn't even mention. I forgot to mention PewDiePie. Subscribe to PewDiePie, by the way.
Like, you need more subscribers.
I mean, it's part of the race against T-Series. So.
I was never on the PewDiePie train. I didn't like any of his gameplay videos, but
he's now into like a meme channel.
Yeah, Tim showed me the other day. He's kind of changed.
He makes me laugh. So
only videos I ever watch of PewDiePie. I'm not subscribed to him. One of the few left in the world, I guess.
Same.
But whenever Tim does show me videos of him, they are pretty funny. Like he can't make me laugh.
Loud equals funny. That's why like Aaron versus like Dan and them, like Dan and John were not loud people, and then Aaron's just obnoxious. But people like,
and Dan's from Jersey, so he's loud.
Yeah. No, he's a soft. He's a nice little Jewish boy.
Actually, well, I didn't watch Game Grumps when John was on there, so whenever I see videos of John on Game Grumps, I'm like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
I'm used to just Danny just being like his quirky self, and I actually prefer Dan over there now.
I feel like that's the way I am with like Kill Switch when it's a song with Jesse versus Howard, because I listened to him when it was Howard, and then I went back and I listened to Jesse. Then it became Jesse again. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, Jesse the first time was good. Jesse when he came back was like, but two different beasts, man. They could do different things, and like Howard had a more grander.
Range, yeah.
He had a better range and just a grander like singing voice, and Jesse just didn't have that. Jesse had like really good like high pitch
metalcore.
Yeah.
But yeah, do y'all?
So all the channels that you grew up watching to the subscribers that you watch now, if you had to recommend one YouTube channel to our audience to check out,
that we grew up,
just one. No, now. Somebody you're subscribed to now,
okay.
Or someone maybe you watched when you were younger and they're still putting out content. Who's one channel, just one?
I already know one
that you would recommend to our audience to check out, because I don't know. I might know.
I'm gonna say Game Grumps, just because Game Grumps has infinite amount of content,
it's
and
true.
you can rabbit hole for weeks, months, and they have a little bit something for everyone.
And their videos are only 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
most of them.
And if not to, just watch a best of video, just one best of video, and if you like that, then. Yeah,
definitely get on a best of video, and that'll turn you onto their like kind of humor and the kind of people they are when they're playing games. Definitely that. Anybody, I'd have to say this is an anime analytical channel, but he's a guy who's made like some of the most in-depth, best videos I've ever seen anybody like make, and he's only made like 20 something videos, but they're all like incredibly researched, supporting details. His name's Super Eye Patch Wolf. I showed you guys, he did a video about Junji Ito and like how he's turned to like he's the godfather of like horror manga, and how he's like and how he made a video about that, and a video about he made like the first million view Hunter x Hunter video. It's a video called Why You Should Watch / Read Hunter x Hunter. He did one for Berserk, he's done one for JoJo, he did like an hour and a half long one for One Piece. I've watched all of these, and like I never lost interest in them, because he just like he's so engaging. He knows all the facts. Like I'm pretty sure this guy went to like school for something, like for how well he writes this stuff down.
Yeah, like his journalist pretty much.
Yeah, and it's just like all the stuff that like really caters to like my interests, whatever. So his name's Super Eye Patch Wolf, and like he recently posted a video called Why You Should Still Watch Hunter x Hunter. And though he's only put out like a little bit of content over like the 2 or 3 years he's been putting out content, he's been seeing like a lot of support. And like people are just like asking him like, do this video, do that video, kind of, put all this stuff out. And he's like kind of like bombarded with it, and he's just kind of like, he's just a simple guy, and he just kind of wants to make videos that he likes, that he thinks other people will like. And he's done like handfuls of meetups at cons, but he feels like he compared it to the guy who wrote what's the anime or what's the manga, Yu Yu Hakusho. How the guy who wrote Yu Yu Hakusho ended the manga because he was so stressed out to finish it, and he rushed the ending. And the guy who wrote it, he said, I finished Yu Yu Hakusho out of my own selfishness. And he says he doesn't want to do that. He wants to finish things the way he has always sought out to be. And he's taking a break because he feels so stressed out about it. He doesn't want things to go wrong for his channel, and I respect that. He's only put out a little bit of content, but all of his content is like the best I've ever seen for that genre. So Super Eye Patch Wolf, I definitely recommend going watching his video for Hunter x Hunter, and his video about why you should watch / read Berserk.
And Zach, tell us about Jenna Marbles.
No, it's not actually. this is tough. And being the one who pitched this, you would think I would have one just off the top of my head, but I don't because I watch so many. I would recommend. There's this channel called It's a Me Milo.
It's a me
Milo. Yeah, it's this kid.
Never heard of this one.
It's this kid named Miles, and he's from overseas, and he makes these videos, like documentary style videos. And even here in like 2019, he walks around with like a handheld like camcorder. And so he'll take a story of like him leaving home to go to university and what it's like leaving home and being at university with his brother. And he takes just like the short thing that would be packing his bags and jumping on a train and leaving for university and turns it into like this 30 to 45 minute video documentary style to where he cuts between the footage and then him like in his dorm like talking about it. Like to be so young, to be like, I think he's younger than me, and making the content that he makes, and it feels super like intimate and at home and relatable. And it doesn't feel like this huge production because it's not. But the way that he narrates and edits and pieces together these different scenes, and how he doesn't like lead straight into it with the video. The video just starts, and then like towards the middle of the video, you're like, it clicks and it makes sense, and it makes sense as to why he put this scene here or this scene here. He did one video where he talks about getting locked out of his dorm or out of this room that they rented, and he just
makes simple things into like really
right
interesting
but it's like super, like when it's over you feel something watching his videos. It doesn't feel like a YouTube video, but it doesn't feel like the super big like documentary thing either. It's hard to explain. I would just say just pick any video and watch it. He's done a video. His dad has ALS, and this is back before the ALS bucket challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes this video for his dad, but you don't realize that it's for his dad until the end of the video, because he doesn't do like these clickbaity titles. He makes these type of videos to where somebody will just say something random in the video, and then he puts that as the title. So it's like the white duck jump on a lily pad or something like random, and you're like, why would I click on this? But then you watch it, and 45 minutes later you feel like,
so it feels genuine.
It's super genuine.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's definitely a huge appeal when like content is like, it doesn't feel clickbaity. It doesn't feel like you scratch the surface and there it is. It's kind of like it's way more personal for like the kind of experience what they want to put out, and that's like.
And his videos are scarce. It's not like he uploads all the time. He uploads every couple of months, but you can tell that there's a lot of thought, and he puts a lot into the videos that he makes. And he's not out to become this big YouTuber. He's here to share his story. You can tell this is almost like videos that he made like for his family. Yeah. And we all get a chance to see it.
That's cool.
So I would say I definitely recommend him, because his editing style and his storytelling is very inspirational because I want to make videos when I go on my trip, but I want it to mean something. I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm in Flagstaff and this is what people in vans do, and they're super clickbait, Instagram famous. No, like I want it to.
Bitch.
There's a bear outside my van.
Yeah.
Not clickbait.
Not clickbait, yeah. Will I survive? And so it's just, I pull a lot of inspiration from him.
What was his name again?
His YouTube channel is It's a Me Milo. So it's a me, Myleo.
And we'll have like links to all these channels, of course, all the ones that we recommend that we watched today and stuff like that in the description of the video.
Yeah. And then also, just to pretty much for the last part of the podcast, our friend David Kavakis, who just moved to Japan, he actually just started doing a YouTube video, and they're like super high quality.
They're really good.
They're actually really
good.
good.
A new one?
Yeah, he just had a new one that just came out today, and his name is Gaijin X Study, and that's GAIJINX, the word study. Yeah. So, and we'll have it in the description too. But he's in Japan, so he's like reviewing ramen and just Japanese stuff,
Japanese goods. And he did like a really in-depth one about ramen, where like these famous ramen shops versus like their ramen versus like their version of it you could buy at like a 7-Eleven type deal, and they're like really like. They feel personal. They feel like he's just talking to you, and that's why they're good. And it's just like that's also because it's our buddy David. He's like, he's making really good videos, man. I hope they really like do well.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm sure he will, man. You posted his video in the group chat, and I think I was logged in as the Mochi YouTube channel, but I subscribed to him. And yeah, dude, his videos are blowing up. He's gaining subscribers like crazy. And
well, he's getting that the different country market.
Yeah.
So he's getting Japan and the United States and every other.
He was talking in Japanese on that video, wasn't he?
It's cool to see. It's just cool to see that people from here, people that we know from. I only know him from these bands I used to watch back in the early 2000s. That people from Birmingham are doing and creating and putting themselves out there to make cool content. And that's what I appreciate more than anything, is that you see all these people online, and it's like, well, I'll never meet them in my life, and oh, they're big and famous, but like these are people that we know, that we have some type of connection to, like MK Slat. He's blowing up. He's huge. I'm
trying to get him to
You got Dustin. He's pushing his clothing brand, and all his stuff's blowing up.
And it's like, well, something I said earlier, there's a lot of talent coming out of, like, when I talked about Tim, all these rappers he shoots videos for, like, there's a lot of talent coming out of Birmingham, but not just like in like music. It's just like everybody's putting out cool stuff, like, and that's kind of why I feel so like happy to be a part of this, because I feel like we're a part of something putting out cool content. It's just something I never thought
going somewhere. Like,
I never thought it'd be a part of like a podcast. Like, I'd always thought about like, hey, that'd be cool to be on a podcast, or it'd be cool to be on a Let's Play, and like next thing I know, we're doing this now. So it's
which is super cool to see people come to us, people that we haven't heard from in years, be like, yo, the podcast is sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's badass. That's awesome.
People I haven't seen since I was like regularly going to shows and like out of state too, like in like places in like Florida and like Atlanta and Tennessee, where they're like, dude, it sounds awesome. It's cool.
Yeah.
Y'all sound like a podcast. So, and then another thing, Zach.
Yo.
We talking about being a podcast and it like really going, but what if you don't know where to find our podcast? Where can people find our podcast?
You can find our podcast on every audio platform
ever.
I think
I said the same thing.
I want to say
ever.
I think it's safe to say we're on everything.
Except Google Plus.
The three major. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We're also on Pocket Cast. You can get us on Castbox. You can get us on Stitcher. You can get us on Podbean and Podbay and
podcast app on your phone. Probably, I don't know.
Everything. You can find us on everything. And if for whatever reason we're not there, you can head over to mochipodcast.com, because I individually every episode upload them to the mochipodcast.com. So say you don't have these podcasting apps, say you don't have iTunes and you don't pay for Spotify Premium and you don't want to download all this other stuff, you can go to Google Chrome on your cell phone, go to Mochi Podcast. We have a tab that says episodes or streams or
something.
The episodes are there, and you can listen to it within your browser on your phone. And with Chrome, maybe Safari as well, you can actually minimize the app and lock your phone and still have the audio play and listen to our full episodes. Yeah. We're also on YouTube for everyone who does already listen to us as audio. We put out videos every week over on our YouTube page.
So
we upload all those videos to mochipodcast.com as well.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Hit that bell. And if you are a Spotify and iTunes are the biggest ones. If you are on iTunes, we would love for you to give us 5 stars if you like the podcast. If you're on Spotify, we would love for you to follow us to get new updates and everything like that. We have all our socials. We have Instagram at Mochi Podcast, Twitter at Mochi Podcast, and then even at the website, if you want to ever submit questions or follow what we're doing, those are the best outlets to go to. We read viewer submitted questions. Typically, I know I say that a lot, but we really do. We read your questions. If you have any topics or anything that you want us to talk about, like YouTube channels that we grew up watching, go over to mochipodcast.com, click on the Ask Us button, and we could read your topic on the next episode. Yeah. And tell your friends too. It's awesome to see all these people that we haven't talked to in years find out about our podcast, and they're sharing episodes and stuff. If you have a favorite episode, share it with somebody. You never know. Maybe they'll like it too. Example of Hayden. Hayden was the only person that liked content when he was in school. Imagine he had people that liked the same thing as he liked. Yeah. And we love all our friends, and you've seen we have people who are just like, man, we love what you're doing. I want to be on. Hell yeah, we got an empty chair right there. Come, you can be on an episode with us.
Submit an application and we might consider you. So.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out this week. I've been your host, Zach, with my host, Hayden, and his host, Tim. We'll catch you next Friday, I guess. Right, boys?
Yeah. And we love Tim.
Yeah, we love Tim.
Watch anime.
Next week, we're talking about anime, son.